Everyone start on your back in corpse pose. So we're just going to take a couple of minutes here, since this is peaceful yoga, to really start to center ourselves, especially with it being towards the end of the day. Sometimes our minds are a little bit busier by now. We need a little bit of extra time and work to pull ourselves out of all the chaos, all the chatter in our heads. So either close your eyes or maybe even just softly gaze towards the ceiling and start to deepen your breath. Breathing in through your nose. Recognizing that our nose is our filtration system. So take big, deep breaths and feel good about it. We're cleansing our bodies. So with each inhale, start to just kind of open up through the chest. Maybe even feel a little bit lighter in the heart, in the head. But then with each exhale, let yourself sink a little bit more into your mat. Really get grounded. Feel the weight of your body pressing into the mat pressing back. We're going to take a couple quiet breaths here. And throughout your practice, for that matter, throughout your life, remember you can always come back to your breath. It brings you automatically back to the present moment. Anytime you can focus on really anything, it doesn't have to be your breath, but that's just a nice constant that's always there. So in your next inhale, pull your left knee in towards your chest and just hug it in gently and rock side to side. It's nice and gentle. Maybe start to make little circles with the knee in one direction and the other direction. And then depending on how warm you feel or don't feel right now, see if you can come into a half happy baby. So we're just grabbing our left foot in our left hand. And if this doesn't feel good, if your body doesn't feel ready, then you can just grab the leg behind the knee. Just starting to get a little bit of opening in the hips. But again, if your body's not warm, it might not be ready for this much of an opening. One more breath here. And release the left leg back long. Pull the right knee in. Again, start by just gently hugging the knee in.
Ow.
And then from here, maybe circle it in one direction. And the other. And then see how your body feels about happy baby on the other side. Knowing you can always just bring your hand behind the knee. you're going to get a lot of that same effect without so much of an intense hip opener. Couple more seconds here. Okay, now bring both of your feet flat on the floor. And this one's going to feel a little weird, but just go with me on this. We're going to just start to draw circles with our ribs. Okay, and probably make more sense if that doesn't make sense to look at me and see. It's almost just like a little wiggle where you're just like moving your ribs, like kind of circle them up to the right and all the way down to the left and around. And then the other direction. So and this probably isn't the best shirt for it. If you can see, I'll kind of exaggerate it here. You're gonna move your chest up and around. Just kind of go back and forth. Go one direction, the other direction. This can be just a really good hip opener. It might not seem like it, but it's kind of moving our pelvis in this, albeit like kind of weird way, but it just kind of moves it in a way that it doesn't usually move. It can start to kind of unstick things. So a few more seconds here. Okay, and then let's come to a nice still position. Feet are pressed firmly into the mat. Arms are pressed into the mat. We're going to bridge up, but we're going to just make this a baby bridge. We're not trying to get deep into this yet. We'll revisit our bridge at the end of the practice, but for now, more than anything, we're starting to create a little bit of heat in this lower part of the body, and then just the tiniest little back bend through the lower curve in our back. Knees point directly over the toes. And then slowly lower down, pull both knees into the chest. Roll your back in one direction and the other. Okay. And then we're going to start to just gently rock up and down until we come to a seated position. So we're going to go into a seated cat and cow. You're going to bring your feet pretty far in front of you. Let me scoot back a little bit, make sure you guys can see me. So I've got my feet pretty far in front of me, and then my knees are pretty far apart. And this way I've really got some room to move. Then start by bringing your hands behind your knees. And then as you inhale, you're going to lift your chest and your chin. As you exhale, you're going to round your back and see if you can get far enough back where your arms straighten all the way. Then inhale, lift. Exhale, round. I'm going to do this from the side to make sure it makes sense. Inhale, lift. And exhale, round. Couple more here. Good. Okay. So now we're going to come with the soles of our feet together. So this is kind of my new favorite thing to do in my practice, and you guys have probably noticed it in my classes, is I like to get in this position at the beginning of the practice and the end, because if you have tight hips, you will notice the difference from the beginning to the end. So come to a nice upright position. You can grab on to your ankles to really help lift your spine nice and long. And then just very gently press your knees towards the floor. Again, we're just starting to get a little warm here, so we're not trying to force a deep stretch. More than anything, we're opening up the hips a little bit, but we're also observing. So really pay attention to how your hips feel now, because we're going to revisit this at the end and see if you notice any difference. Couple more breaths here. One more big breath. Good. Okay, now we're going to come to tabletop for just a standard cat and cow. Okay, so as you inhale, press your chest forward, drop your belly towards the floor as your chin lifts. Exhale, round your back, tuck your chin. Okay, keep going with this movement. I'm going to try to turn on another light, make sure you guys can see me good. Yeah, I think that's better. Okay. So inhale, lift the chin, press the chest forward. Exhale, round the back. And don't be afraid to kind of play around with your positioning here. Like I find that if I bring my knees a little bit further back, I can really get a nice deep stretch in my lower back. So don't feel like you've got to be like perfectly lined up with the hands under the shoulders, the knees under the hips. Our bodies are not so perfectly aligned, and that's okay. Couple more breaths here. And come to a neutral spine. Start to inhale the right leg up, and then just play around with getting that leg parallel with the mat. And then you can stay right here and just kind of pull in on the belly button and really focus on lining everything up. Or if you want to do a little bow and start to warm up the upper body. But here's the time to really start to tune into your body. You might not like this early. One more. Okay, we're going to come back up to that neutral spine. Take the right leg and cross it all the way behind the left leg. Turn to look at the right foot. See how much length you can create between the right rib cage and the right hip. One more breath here. Next inhale, right leg floats up. Exhale, bring it down. Other side. Left leg floats up. Get everything nice and parallel with the floor. And maybe you stay here, or maybe you just take a little bow. So if you're doing these bows, you want to make sure your elbows are pulled into your side and your shoulders are rolled back and down. One more. And then left leg crosses behind the right leg. Turn to look at the left foot. Lengthen that area between the left hip and the left rib cage. Always tuning back into that breath. One more breath here. Inhale, left leg floats up. Exhale, leg comes down into tabletop. Okay, start to curl the toes under, send the hips back for down dog. Check in with your knees, see if they're ready to go straight. See if you need to keep a nice bend in them. Spread the fingers wide, create a nice solid foundation through the palms, the pointer fingers, the thumbs. Pull in the rib cage. And again, don't be afraid to bend those knees. You can even physically reach back. Make sure you have a straight back. If you're having to really round your back, you probably need to bend your knees some more so you can press your belly towards your thighs. Okay, so if you feel ready, on the next inhale, the right leg is going to float up, and maybe it bends, and you just start to circle it in one direction. Make it big, exaggerated circles. And other direction, big circles.
Oh my God.
And bring that leg back parallel with the floor. and step the right foot all the way in between the hands. And then we're gonna drop this left knee down. Okay, so if you've got blocks, this is a really good time to grab them. I highly recommend blocks for honestly any practice. I think that there are very few exceptions of people that cannot get benefit out of some pose using blocks. That being said, if you don't have blocks, make do, or if you see something, two little parallel sturdy objects around, grab them. And doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is we're just, if you have blocks, I'm gonna recommend bringing them back where they're about parallel with your hips. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna create a little flow here. We're gonna inhale into this low lunge as we lift our chest, and then we're gonna exhale and send our hips back and hover over our front leg. And then we're gonna inhale into that low lunge and exhale, hinge back. So more than anything, really time this with your breath. Make it almost a moving meditation. Couple more. This time we're gonna hold in our low lunge. And then curl the left toes under and step the right foot back into down dog. From here, we're gonna take the left foot and step it through the right side of the body. So you're stepping it under your right arm. And then you can either stay right here and just pull the belly button in, or inhale the right arm up. Good. And exhale, step back into down dog. Couple breaths in down dog. Remembering you can always go into child's pose. One more breath here. Next inhale, maybe the left leg floats up. Maybe it stays here, or maybe it bends and you start to circle the leg. Big circles in one direction and the other. Left leg comes parallel with the mat and then steps all the way through. Bring the right knee down. Again, if you've got blocks, this is a great time to grab your blocks. Bring them about parallel with your hips. So we're going to start by inhaling, lifting through the chest, really opening up this right hip, maybe even trying to nudge that left hip back a little bit more. And then exhale, hinge back. Inhale forward. Exhale, shift back. Start to move with your own breath. Couple more. One more breath in and out. And then we'll meet for a full breath in this low lunge. Put your blocks to the side, step back into down dog. Take the right leg, cross it under the left side of the body. Either stay here with the belly button pulled in tight, or inhale the left arm up. And exhale, left hand down, step back into down dog. One more big breath here. And then shift forward into a plank. One big breath in plank. And then if you need to lower your knees to the ground, please do so. Wherever you're at, keep your elbows pulled in tight as you lower down. Okay, slide the forearms forward to come into Sphinx. So again, in Sphinx, this is a very active pose. Our hands are spread nice and wide. We're engaging our hands into the mat to lift the chest forward. Roll the shoulders back and down. Chin is parallel with the floor. Press the tops of the feet into the mat. Press the pelvis into the mat and pull the belly button in. 2 more breaths here. The whole body should feel active. 1 more big breath. And slowly lower down. Press up into a plank and back into down dog. Okay, we're gonna start to slowly walk our feet towards our hands. Tiny little steps, make every step count, because every step is an opportunity to stretch our calves, and our calves don't get nearly enough attention when it comes to stretching. And we'll meet at the front of the mat. Big breath here. Okay, we're going to start to shift our weight into our right foot, and we're going to inhale that left leg up. See if you can keep the left thigh parallel with the floor. A lot of times we'll try and open up, see how wide we can get, and we kind of open up the left hip. Instead, rotate that left thigh back down towards the floor. And exhale, lower. Hang out here for a couple breaths, maybe sway side to side. Let the head hang long. And then start to shift your weight into your left foot and inhale the right leg up. So same thing here. Don't open the hip to see how high you can get. Instead, keep that right leg parallel with the floor. Try pulling your belly button in. In poses like this, our core tends to just kind of go all over the place. But even in these types of poses, our core should always be activated. We should always be using our core as the foundation of our poses. And exhale the right leg down. Shimmy the legs out. Sway side to side. Next, inhale, rise up halfway. See how long you can get your neck. But a lot of people make the mistake of lifting their chin as high as they can get. Keep the neck long, but the head is neutral. The neck is an extension of the spine. And then exhale, fold down. Inhale with soft knees, reverse swan dive up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Okay, we're going to work on tree while we're up. Give our blood a few minutes to get back down out of our heads into the rest of our bodies. So start to shift your weight into your right foot. And I really like to start tree pose with my eyes closed. It's up to you, and you can open your eyes whenever you need to. But I like how I can really focus on getting grounded through my right foot. I can really feel everything that's going on. It challenges my balance. So I encourage you to just try it, but obviously open your eyes when you start to feel too unsteady. So we're going to start by just lifting our weight off of our left heel. as we really get grounded in the right foot. Make sure you keep a soft knee in that right leg, because as soon as you're not paying attention, you want to lock out, and it gives you less stability, not more. Okay, so from here, we're just going to prop that left heel on the right leg and start to open the left knee out. Right away, as soon as we do this, this right hip wants to pop out on us. So see if you can pull that right hip in and then find those 3 points on your core, 2 at your hips, 1 at your belly button. Pull all 3 points in. And then from here, just see if maybe you can start to slide that foot up. Remembering that if your resting spot is at your knee, just make sure you're not pressing your weight into your knee. If you can softly rest your foot on your knee, that's fine. But if you find yourself putting a lot of pressure on your knee, you really don't want to load your weight into your knee that way. And then maybe we spread our branches. Lift the chest. Maybe even try glancing up at the ceiling. Notice how that automatically challenges your balance. And then see how slowly, like you're in a slow motion video, you can step out of it. And then just circle your hips, one direction and the other. And let's set up for the other side. So again, optional, you can close your eyes to just really get grounded, maybe challenge your balance a little bit more, totally up to you. Soft bend in the left knee. Weight starts to lift off this right heel. And then the right heel props against the left ankle and the right knee opens. So from here, pull that left hip back in, but don't lock out the knee. Find those 3 points in your core, pull them together, lift up through the chest, and maybe that foot slides up the inside of the leg. Always try and keep that knee open. Maybe we spread our branches from here. Lift up through the chest. So keep just checking in with those points. Is my foot grounded? Is my knee soft? Is my core engaged? Is my chest lifted? And then see how slowly you can come out of it. Good. And circle the hips. Not because it's yoga, just because it feels good. Okay, let's come to the front of our mats. Big inhale up, little back bend at the top. Exhale, hands to heart center. 2 more times here. Big inhale up, pause at the top. This time with soft knees and grounded feet, we swan dive down. Hang out here for a couple of breaths. Listen to your body. What does it need? Does it need a nice static standing forward fold? Maybe you need to sway side to side, slide your hands under your feet. As long as there's no sharp pains, there is no wrong way to do this. Any of it. Next, inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold down. Step back into down dog. Couple breaths here. Again, spread wide through the fingers. Really anchor down through all 10 fingers. Pretend the palms are suction cups. Really stick them into the mat. Belly presses towards the thighs. Maybe we have a little bit of a bend in our knees to really help us get a straight back. Pull the rib cage in. And on the next inhale, right foot steps forward. And if it feels okay, you always have the option to bring that back knee down. But if it feels okay, we're going to rise up into high lunge or crescent pose. Now you can either walk your hand up your leg, or you can get nice and solid through your core and rise up. So inhale, really lengthen, and then we're gonna grab the left wrist with the right hand, and we're gonna reach towards the right. One more breath here. And then we're gonna inhale, reach up. And if it feels okay, we're gonna exhale, reach the hands behind the back and interlace. Lift up through the chest. Okay, so from here, I should have started on the other side because for you guys to see how I'm gonna transition, I'm gonna have to face away from you. But I'll turn around in a second. You're gonna rotate both feet out wide and almost pigeon-toed. So your toes are slightly pointed in, the outsides of your feet are really pressing down in the mat. That's gonna help support your knees. And you're gonna hinge forward, and then I'm gonna turn around so you can see me. You're either gonna take your peace fingers and grab the big toes, or you can bring your hands down to the floor. You can grab something sturdy, a block, an ottoman, a stool, whatever, but find a position where you can really just rest down for a second. And again, really focus on pressing the weight on the outsides of the feet, because that's what's going to really help make sure your knees are not they don't have too much stress on them in this position. Okay, couple more breaths here. And then we're going to rotate our right foot back towards the front of the mat. We're going to keep our left foot where it is, bend into the right knee, and windmill the hands, arms up into warrior two. I'm going to turn around, make sure you guys can see what I'm doing here. So in warrior two, we should be able to see the big toe on the inside of the knee. Chest is lifted, shoulders rolled back and down. Reach both arms long in each direction. Look back at that left arm. Make sure it didn't droop on you. One more breath here. And while the whole body is activated, our face and our neck is soft. Next, inhale. Left hand drops down, right hand flips open, and we extend back for exalted warrior. One more breath here. And then we're going to start to hinge forward into side angle. So there's a couple different ways we can do this. We start with our forearm rested on our right leg. And we should only have about a third to a half of our weight pressing into our leg, which means our core has to be engaged. From here, we can bring our left hand to our left hip and just focus on opening up. And this is a perfect place to be. If this feels good, this is where you stay. Or you can inhale this left arm straight up. Or maybe you bring the left arm over the head, but only if you're in a nice straight line. You don't want to be like this. You want to be in a nice straight line. And maybe you even want to try a bind if that's part of your practice. You can reach under your right leg, bring your left shoulder up, and I'm still working on getting there, but you're always trying to open. You're always trying to open the shoulder more and more towards the ceiling. One more breath here. Okay, and then we're going to drop back down with our hands framing our foot, step back into down dog. One more breath in down dog. Next, inhale, left foot steps forward. So again, you always have the option to come down on that back knee and give yourself a little bit more stability. Or you can walk your hands up your thigh or get nice and solid through the core and inhale up. So a couple breaths here. Really lengthen as you inhale. Lift up through the chest, lengthen your spine. As you exhale, maybe you deepen a little bit more, and then reach that left hand over to the right wrist. So left hand grabs the right wrist, and you start to lean towards the left. We're trying to really lengthen this side of the body. You should really feel this in the right hip. And yes, this is also a balance pose. This is throwing off our center of gravity. One more breath here. And then inhale, both arms up. Exhale, interlace the hands in the way that doesn't feel intuitive behind your back. We always have one way we tend to interlace our fingers. So go the opposite way. One more breath here. And then we're going to spin both feet where they're parallel with each other, long on the mat. Again, slightly pigeon-toed, so the toes are just very slightly pointed in, but more than anything, the weight's pushed down on the outsides of the feet to really protect the knees. Bring your hands to your hips, soft bend in the knees as you hinge forward. So you can go back to that first forward fold, or if you want to interlace your hands behind your back and extend your hands overhead, if that feels okay, but keep that soft bend in the knees. Just the tiniest little micro bend, make sure they're not locked out. So when we come out of this, we don't just want to flop out of it. We want to bring our hands down to our lower back, bend into our knees, and then rise up. Again, this is how we protect ourselves, our knees, our lower back. Rotate the left foot open. Right foot stays where it is. Bend the front leg, come into warrior two. Check in with that front big toe. Make sure you can see it. Lift up through the shoulders. Tiniest little micro bend in this back leg. And again, don't forget about the core. Pull in those 3 points of the core every time you think of it throughout your whole practice until you get into corpse pose. You should be reminding yourself over and over again to engage the core, because we'll keep forgetting. So while the whole body is activated, again, pull the shoulders back and down, soften the face, soften the throat and the neck. Next, inhale, right hand drops back, left hand flips open for exalted warrior. Pay attention to your left knee when you go into exalted warrior. It likes to sneak in on you. Make sure it stays open. One more breath here. And then start to hinge forward for side angles. So again, make sure all your weight isn't rested on this leg. Instead, the core is engaged. It's what's keeping us upright. And then we can bring our right hand to our right hip, or we can extend the right arm straight up or over our head. Or if it's part of your practice, you can reach this left arm through, see if you can inch your fingers together and just work on kind of rocking that shoulder open. But again, things like binds, they can open us up more, make us more flexible. But at the same time, don't ever get too focused on the party tricks. Yoga is not about the party tricks. It's about tuning into your body, getting firmly rooted in your body, creating a vehicle that is going to be sustainable for our whole lives. The rest is just kind of fun and distracting. One more breath here. And then windmill the hands down. Step back into plank. One big breath in plank. And then we slowly lower down. Okay, so from here, I really want to encourage each of you to find a back bend that's really going to serve you tonight. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to go into Sphinx the first time around. This is an excellent way. You're engaging your entire body. You're creating this nice, this supported, gentle back bend that can be excellent and healthy for your lower back. So if this is where you need to be, this is where I encourage you to stay. Or you can come into a cobra. It's a little bit more effort. Or if this feels right, you can interlace your hands behind your back and lift up. So your legs want to be parallel in this position. The legs are straight. The shoulders are pulled back and down. And then go ahead and lower. Okay, so you've got all three of these options. Or if bow is part of your practice, you can come into bow. Now, bow can be excellent to help strengthen and stretch, but if your body's not ready for it, you don't want to do it. So if you want to set up for bow, like I said, otherwise go back to Sphinx, go back to cobra. But you want your knees to be parallel when you come into bow. And you're going to press the tops of your feet into your hands, roll your shoulders back and down, lift up through your chest. Keep trying to pull your knees together. And then wherever you are, slowly lower down. And we're going to very, very gently push back into child's pose. Anytime that we do an extreme back bend, like bow, or we're in anything, like even a more passive back bend like Sphinx, we want to come out of it slowly. 2 more breaths here. Next inhale, slowly rise up. Okay, before we go down into our seated poses or some of our seated core work, we're going to just very briefly go into side plank. And I really encourage you, if you have any kind of lower back issues, shoulder issues, I encourage you to come back to this stacked knee, hips lifted, and stay right here. This truly is, I know anybody who takes my classes, I lecture it all the time, but it's because I don't think people think it's true. This really, if this is where you're at, if this is where you feel challenged, then this is what's going to make your core stronger. If you're flopping around in some crazy variation with your leg up, that's not going to make you stronger. It's just going to probably injure you. So you've got your modified side plank that's going to help you work up to the next level. Or you've got your standard side plank. You can have a little bit of an in-between by kind of crossing this right leg in front, and you're still going to get a lot of effort. Or if you're just really into party tricks, you can work on raising that leg up. But again, find your variation of a side plank. Few more seconds here. And let's go to the other side. Okay, so again, find your version. Maybe you're here. Maybe you're here or here. Maybe you kind of want a little in between. You want to bring that leg forward. Few more seconds. And slowly lower down. Good. Okay. We're slowly making our way down to the floor. We're going to go into boat pose. So in boat, we want to get nice and tall. Start by grabbing onto your knees to really help you lift up through your chest. Roll your shoulders back and down. Feel that engagement on your back. Make sure wherever you wind up in boat that you're able to keep that engagement and that lift in the chest. That's all that matters. So you may be here. You may take your hands off your knees and you may find that you round as soon as you do. So maybe you just apply a little less pressure to your knees and this is where you hang out tonight. Or maybe you feel ready to kind of rock back on that center of gravity and find a little bit more intense version of boat. But wherever you are, again, lift up through the chest, shoulders back and down. And come down. Okay, if it feels right, we're gonna go into reverse tabletop. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it. Inhale the hips up. Roll the shoulders back and down. Knees are in line with the hips. And slowly lower down. We're going to go into our boat one more time. Get nice and tall. Wherever you are, keep that engagement. Chest lifted, shoulders rolled back and down. And slowly come down one more time. Reverse tabletop. Shoulders are rolled back and down. Elbows are pointed straight behind. Squeeze the glutes to lift the hips. Don't forget to engage the core. And slowly lower down. Okay. We're going to bring our right leg out long and pull our left leg in nice and tight. And then start to reach for this right foot, or you may end up with this, with your hand somewhere behind your right leg. But wherever you are, once you find that point of contact, you're going to start to open this left shoulder up and extend the left arm overhead. And we're going to keep this rotation. So you may be here. This may be where you need to be to keep this rotation. But as soon as you feel yourself start to fold over as you reach for that right foot, you've gone too far. We want to keep that openness on the left side of the body. One more breath here. And then slowly, we're going to take one counter pose. We're going to bow over this left knee for one breath. We're going to stay on the same side of the body. Bring the right leg in front of you. Cross the left leg over. Right arm crosses over the left leg. Left hand, bring it in close behind the body. As you inhale, lift up through your spine. Get nice and long. Use the leverage from this right arm to help you lift up. And then as you exhale, twist towards the left. One more breath. And then we're going to take a counter pose for one breath to the other side. So right hand comes in behind the body. Left arm comes to the inside of the right leg and twist. Okay, other side. Left leg comes out long. Really pull this right foot in. Find where you need to be on this left leg. It could be right here behind the leg, or maybe all the way down, or somewhere in between. And then we're going to start to open ourselves up to the right. And from here, inhale the right arm up. Let me just say, it might not feel good to have the right arm up. You might want to just bring it behind your back. Just remember, the goal here is wherever you end up, this side of the body, the right side of the body, is opening up. That's the whole point of this. We're trying to hit our hips in every direction, especially if you've been sitting more lately. This is super important. Keep rotating. One more breath. And then we take one breath as we bow over the right leg. Okay, left leg comes out in front. Right leg crosses over the left leg. Left arm wraps around the right leg. Right hand behind the body. Inhale, lift up. Exhale and twist. Keep lengthening the spine. One more breath. And then twist to the left for one breath. Good. Unwind before we go down on our backs. Let's come back to this Baddha Konasana. Feet together. Sit up nice and straight. Press the knees down. Close your eyes. Observe if you feel any difference. Do you feel a little taller? Do your hips feel a little bit more open?
Yes.
One more breath here. And then we're going to come all the way down on our backs. Bring your right foot into your right hand, left foot into your left hand. Happy baby. And then one final pose. Legs come straight up for waterfall. I think this is a good finishing pose because it honors our hearts. Our hearts work all day long to defy gravity, pull the blood back up through our legs. Helps our lymphatic system, helps us eliminate more efficiently. So as you're in this waterfall pose, I encourage you to just really mindfully send loving, healing energy into your entire body. Maybe from there you send it out into the entire world. It's just like the saying that lighting another person's candle with your candle doesn't diminish your flame. You can send out all the healing energy you want. You're not giving any of yours away. And then pull your knees into your chest. Roll out your back, nice and gentle. And then extend your legs long on the mat. Arms fall out at your side as you make your way into Shavasana, your corpse pose, or any other pose. Anything that feels restorative. Take just a moment to scan your body, to release any final tension. Maybe not even release it. Maybe just acknowledge it. Soften your forehead a little, your jaw, your throat, your hips, and lower back, your arms and legs. As you sink down into your mat, your thoughts evaporate out of your head. So gently rest your attention on your breath. Recognize your breath for exactly what it is. It's your body's wisdom. In and out, all day long, all night long, every day. This is your tangible proof of your body's wisdom. As you start to stir your body awake, I invite you to honor your body in this moment for all your body's wisdom, how it gets you through every day. It's given and received every hug. It's performed every task for your entire life. Honor that. As you tune into that body wisdom, see what you need in these final moments to complete your practice. Perhaps a few more moments of rest. Maybe to stretch long, or to curl up in a ball on your side. No teacher's wisdom can even begin to match your body's wisdom if you just listen. So as you feel ready, you can begin to make your way to a seated position. And let's take 3 deep breaths together to close our practice. With each inhale, we open our hearts, we open our chest. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale.